Like today. I'm gonna apologize in advance. This is liable to be a little long video, but I really can't see any way around that one. So tomorrow I'm gonna take a 30 mile. I thought it was 22 miles, but it turns out it's a 30 mile test run down the Missouri to Fort Mandan from Garrison Dam, right? So we'll see how it all runs. But, I wanted to share with you today some of my sources, and then all the gear that I've got. So it's liable to be, I have a tendency to bleed on anyway. So yeah, it could be a little longer than most folks like, but hopefully I can keep it interesting anyway. So first, sources. I'm gonna go over sources. So if you haven't read this, Undaunted Courage by Stephen Ambrose, you absolutely need to, right? It's just a phenomenal book. There's so much information and it's so well written that you're depriving yourself of a very significant piece of history if you don't read it. Right? So, and, second, I was like, this is the Journals of Lewis and Clark by Bernard DeVoto. That one's kind of dry, but but it's the journals, but it's just the journals of Lewis and Clark, right? And it was a corps of expedition. I mean, there's like 33 people on this trip. Far and away, this book right here by Clay Jenkinson, A Vast and Open Plain. This has been invaluable, right? So it not only has it's all about North Dakota and what happened in North Dakota. Clay Jenkinson is a North Dakotan, so he has done some serious research, and so it's not only Lewis and Clark's journal, but it's Sergeants Ordway and Gass and Private Whitehouse's journals every single day, right? And it gives you the weather every single day, what happened every single day as they're going up, what they took for food or took as far as game and things like that. And there was like running count of that too. It's just bloody awesome. That's a phenomenal read, and plus it's got a whole lot more too. It's got a whole chapter on Toussaint Charbonneau and Sacagawea. It's just awesome book. I highly recommend that one right there. But as I was doing the researches, I wanted to find inventories, right? So I happened to run across, and I'm going to share this right in just a second, right? Ran across a master's thesis that a major had done for the Army of War College, and it is absolutely phenomenal. It's 150 pages or something like that, but the inventories are absolutely phenomenal, and I'm going to share that with you right here, right now. So we're gonna start right out with the Born to Be Wild. So she's about ready to run. So it's hard to find evergreens in North Dakota for sure. But my son has like 4 spruce trees. They let me cut some boughs off of it. So I put boughs on the floor of the canoe to keep things up out of the water. And if you read the journals, it's like almost every other day they're unpacking stuff to dry it out, right? So this is where the Mimi's spot. I still haven't built her a shelter yet, but that's going to happen here. Well, this trip's only 3 days, so we should be okay. And the weather's supposed to be good tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. So it's about a 6 to 8 hour run. Excuse me. So there's one of my paddles. This is a copy of an original Voyeur's paddle. Can't remember exactly what museum it came from, but yeah, it's a pretty good little beaver tail. And my favorite paddle for deep water especially is a modified otter tail that oh yeah, it works great. It works awesome. So everything in the canoe will be tied down. Everything, right? Now, although this looks like a lot of stuff, right? It really doesn't weigh that much in for a canoe. So if I get into a headwind and the canoe's too light, it makes it a real bugger to keep to keep it on track, right? So I'm gonna probably load a bunch of firewood in there because the site we're going to has just cottonwood. Cottonwood really sucks for firewood, so I'm gonna bring some ash and some birch that I picked up. So here is all the stuff that I'm taking, right? And plus a little bit over here too, but we'll go over that, right? So I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible, right? So besides what I'm wearing, I have no idea what this looks like, right? My extra clothes is in my tricorn. It's going. I'll fantail it more than likely. If the sun's out, it's like, yeah, I'll fantail it rather than running as a tricorn. I have a pair of socks. Now, these were hand knitted, hand spun, years ago, and I pretty much save them for wintertime, but I'm just gonna take it anyway. There's my extra breech clout. So I have a change of underwear if it needs to be. I quite like silk scarves. You can see it's starting to get a little ratty, but I've got 2 of them on right now, and that's my third. That's my extra. And of course, my hunting shirt is coming. And I got the work smock that I have on. I have my much repaired shoe packs. They've been with me a long time, and an extra pair of moccasins. All right, and now I'm going to go into because they I have to. I'm going to have to take some things modern, which causes me great annoyance and displeasure. But so one is like the canoe, right? There's no way. I don't have enough lead in my pencil to be dragging around a dugout canoe, and it's just me and Mimi, and Mimi doesn't have opposable thumbs, so that kind of sucks. So here's what I got for. This is just mostly camera gear right here, right? And this right here is a little solar charger, like a Gold Zero solar charger. And plus there's a little wood stove in here. My Urlaven wood stove is in there just in case I'm forced to have a confined fire. But that's basically that. And then there's a first aid kit right there, and that is mostly it's gauze and tape and some band-aids and ibuprofen, and that's just about it. So onto the cooking gear. So my camal's going, right, which is Spanish, of course, but Louisiana Territory was Spanish, right, in the latter half of the 18th century. So I don't have any documentation that Lewis and Clark had a camal, but it's going, right? It's a very ancient piece of cookware. So I got a copper pot and a little steel skillet. Both those things ride in my haversack. And inside the copper pot I get this is tallow and beeswax, 50-50. A small piece of whetstone, some extra jute, twine. This is a little fishing kit, like half a dozen hooks in there, and a beeswax candle, cloth for washing dishes and washing my face and things like that, or other places of my body. And I have two, these are both Spanish as well. My spoon and my, I guess you call it a fork. And then last thing, I guess this was a corn boiler. The handle came off years and years ago. So interesting thing though, when Lewis ordered a bunch of tin cups from Philadelphia, he ordered them without handles, which is kind of interesting. You know, I'm assuming that's because it was just easier to pack, right? But this fella, it'll be tied into right underneath my seat. I'll use that as a bail, right? 'Cause you're gonna get water in your canoe, no matter what. It just happens. You can't stop it, right? So, but if we get in some bad stuff, I'll be able to bail out. Not very fast, but it's what I got. So we'll get this out of the way. Cordage. So, oh yeah, this is what I keep my little copper kettle and my skillet in, so it doesn't muck up everything else. Taking my belt axe, put a new handle on it, put a new strike plate on it. It's a going. Cordage, right? So a little bit of rawhide for just repairing things or whatever. A good horsehair rope, which is really good in water. Yeah, that's really strong stuff. And this another rope came from Africa, I believe, but it's really cool. It's really cool stuff, man. It is strong. So those are going to be bow and stern, and then some sisal rope. Yeah, rope was a big deal for these fellas because they were hauling the keel boat up, and they hauled the pirogues up too, when they couldn't paddle or row or sail, and actually it became a problem for them. In fact, just before they got to North Dakota, they had one. They were having some issues with the Lakota, and one of the bow lines broke and it caused a bit of concern there. It almost started a war, but by the end they were braiding elk rawhide into ropes for hauling the canoes and things up the pirogues up. Of course, Sweet Marie. And I went over the shooting bag and the horn the other day. What's in it? Yeah, interesting. There, that is a lead container of powder. And I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture of Lewis, what Lewis had done. He was brilliant, actually, but his was like 40 pounds of powder inside of a lead container. So you use up your powder, and then you can use the container itself for making bullets. Right? That's pretty brilliant. And then that's all beeswaxed around there. So there's only about half a pound of powder in there. So, but that's what we got. Bedding. I've got. I've always run a single blanket and this piece of canvas. Right, this canvas about. Oh, it's about 6 by 8, something like that. 6 by 7, I think is what it is. We're actually, right, I'm running with this and this old, this old red, what's it called? Horse blanket, right? Whitney horse blanket, right? I've had that for years, and that's what I run. And I run those down, all the way down to 20 below. So I saw a video not too long ago where they were talking about the myth of a single blanket, but that ain't exactly true, right? So, when 20 below or 28 minus 28 Celsius, right? It was miserable. I'm not gonna I ain't gonna lie. It was bloody miserable, but we survived, right? I mean, and it was like 3 days out, 3 nights out. Or 3 nights out, 4 days out, and yeah, it was miserable, but we survived. So, but I don't know, getting older, I might carry an extra blanket, in part because yeah, there's no evergreens here to make a bed out of. So there's all my food is going in this side, this right here. This is a newly invented haversack, right? And I'll do a video on that in and of itself at another time. You know, since I'm getting soft, I did go out and buy myself a sheepskin to sleep on top of. It'd be nice if it was buffalo robe, but I couldn't. That's more than this cowboy makes. So we're not going there. So where are we at? Let's go to food. Food. The staple. Here is the staple, right? I got about 4 pounds of split peas. And canoemen in the north know exactly what that means. And I got about 3 pounds of cornmeal there. Now this is, and if you'll see, look at the inventories, this is lied corn. This is hominy, right? This is dried hominy. This particular hominy comes from the Mohawk people up in Canada. These beans, these are Great Northern beans. They are a direct descendant of the Hidatsa shield beans. I mean, like, just, yeah, close to a generation or two away, right, from the Hidatsa shield beans, right? And there's there's my salt horn, and the horn I cocked up, decided to turn it into a salt horn. So there's that. Now, this is pilot bread. You should be familiar with pilot bread. This is an Alaskan staple. These ones are like 2 years old and they're still good, right? But that was made, that was invented in like 1794. I forget the fellow's name, a guy in Boston came up with the pilot bread. And so in the journals, when you read or the inventories, you read about biscuits. That's what it is. It's like way better than way better than hardtack. Hardtack really sucks. Yeah. So there's that. We got coffee that was in the inventory. This is a lot of tea, and that was in the inventory as well. And that's dried fruit. That one's gonna be questionable, right? So there's peas. This is Mimi's food for through the 3-day jaunt we're going. It's tobacco. I need more. Onions, need more. It's red pepper, need more. Yeah, well, that one should hand. What is it? This is garlic. Yeah, garlic. So they brought spices along, and they don't exactly say what spices they have. So the last of the food. I better go with the last of the food. Right. So let's get this out here. Well, I've been working on that one for a couple of days. So there's a pound of lard right there. And this is pemmican. So if you're not familiar with pemmican, it really sucks to eat it by itself. It ain't like what you buy in the stores at all. Right? To eat it by itself is kind of a kind of challenging. You can eat it just straight, but I'll be making what they call rubaboo. So that is pemmican, and it's just ground meat, powdered meat basically, and fat. And I actually 2 weeks ago I rendered like 5 pounds of beef tallow, but it was too beefy, smelled too beefy it wasn't very good fat, one quality fat. So I went and I got ordered up some bison tallow, and it's just like that was about 4.5 cups of beef powder, and it took dang near the whole thing of a quart of this powder. I guess a little bit more to make, but that. Oh, and an extra little note on pemmican, right? So pemmican trade up here, and I was really amazed at how big the pemmican trade is up here, right? So there was even a war fought, and it was a long war, and eventually ended up merging the Northwest Company into the Hudson Bay Company, unfortunately. But yeah, the Métis people, that was their trade. But that'll last for a while. So I'll be eating. It's going into pea soup. So it's pea and pemmican soup. Yeah. So now here's an interesting thing. So and something I didn't know is they were big on getting mosquito netting, and I tried to find out what they used, what it looked like. I couldn't find anything. So what I ended up doing is using a cotton. This is just a cotton game bag, but I know when they used them like every day, right? The mosquitoes are pretty bad. And little Pomp, when he lost his, he got chewed up pretty bad in Montana, right? So Pomp was Sacagawea's little one. He was only about 6 months old at that time, right? There's my bag of trade goods. It's pretty poor. Knife River flint and chaga. I harvested a whole bunch of chaga before I left Alaska last summer. Water is an issue. It was an issue for the Corps of Discovery. They got pretty sick, and then they ate those Dr. Rush's thunderclap pills or whatever they're called, right? Nothing but mercury basically. And so there's only a quart. I've got in my modern stuff. I have a water filter, a good one that I'll use to filter out water if I can't find good drinking water. But this weekend there's supposed to be water down at that site. So, and that's not what's in that. This This is rum, and actually, I'm just gonna give it a go right here. I'm gonna give it a pull. Yep, good, very good. I've been sewing bags and bags and bags and bags, so I'm gonna take a couple bucks. They're going in this bag. And no, this is a questionable deal here. Fire irons, but wood is a challenge here in North Dakota. So I'm taking them. It's just so easy to make camp and cook on it. When you got these guys, and they don't take up much room or anything like that. So where are we at now? This is like the last of it. So there's my journal. It's a leather-bound journal. Not 100% correct, but it's pretty dang close. Little pipe, medicine pipe. And you'll see like I got a lot of oilcloth bags, right? So, and you'll see the inventory from Philadelphia. Lewis ordered a ton of oilcloth, right? So in this one, this is all tender, extra tender. Bar of Castile soap, that was on the inventory. More tobacco, and that'll be like 3 times the size when I head upstream. Another candle, beeswax candle. This is my wallet where my ID and things like that are going to go into. And one of the most important things of all is a sewing kit, repair kit, and I'm going to do a video on it in and of itself as well, right? So there's that. My toiletry kit. This is my toothbrush. And there's actually one looks just almost the same down in Lewis and Clark Interpretive Museum, and a looking glass. I don't really care what I look like per se, but we're in tick country, man, and I hate ticks. It's like, oh my God! So it's pretty handy for locating them little bastards. So. Yeah, 2 important things I forgot. They were underneath the haversack, so those are in the haversack as well. Okay, so a horn spoon and a file, and both of them are really quite important. Right. I think that's gonna about cover it as a quick one. I'll do more as I'm on the river. If you got any questions or comments, or you say this is really stupid, or what about this, yeah, feel free to make a comment on it, right? So there we go. Cheers.